What is up, you guys? It is your boy Toad Trap Tribe here, back with another installment of the Naruto Survival Guide series. And as you all have noticed by now, we've made the jump to Shippuden, and we are in the midst of the Gaara retrieval arc. We've gotten our first round of combat done with our former teammate Adamuku going head to head with none other than Deidara as she attempts to recover the Kazekage, and we'll get back to the results of her fight later. But for now, we're going to focus on Yabanako and Konko, how they're doing against Sasori. And as you guys already know, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. First of all, I really like talking to you guys down in the comment section. Secondly, it really helps the channel out so we can focus more on giving you guys videos just like this. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. Okay, the last time we were out here in the middle of the desert following the story of our tragic hero Kankuro, he was face to face Sasori, the legendary puppet master. But he doesn't know that yet. As far as he's concerned, this is just some crazy rogue ninja from Sand who, kidnapped his leader and brother. So the only thing Kankuro is worried about right now is throwing hands or puppeteering them. But there's another wrinkle in this timeline. Yabanako is a Chunin level fighter at worst, and having a guy like that that's not just straight shinobi fodder to help out against a Akatsuki member is legit. That's a useful asset to have. And in a perfect world, Kankuro would be dictating the terms of this engagement, but when you're facing somebody as skilled as Sasori, that's just not going to be the case. And while Kankuro is very fortunate to have Yabanako here, if we all remember, Yabanako's a bit of a hothead, not the greatest at taking direction. So, his Kazekage, his leader, the guy he's looking up to, he just got taken right from under his nose. He's all fired up and ready to go. So he charges in head first, tries to get a strike off on Sasori. A lot of times we see these beeline bull rushes prove to be pretty ineffective, and that's the case here. Yabanako barely misses a run-in with Sasori's deadly tail, which we know is coated in some nasty venom. Kankuro sees a chance, created by Yabanako's reckless charge though, to try and sneak attack Sasori. Of course, he had a puppet lying in wait, and it chooses this moment to spring out and try and attack the rear. Sasori deftly avoids. Now, if you remember in the show, Sasori was always one step ahead of Kankuro because he's the puppet guy. He's the OG puppet guy. He's been doing this, yo. And so he's quick to mock Kankuro's prowess with puppet. Just as Sasori lets off a hearty laugh at Kankuro's misfortune, Yabanako decides to encapsulate him in a dome of rock. Sasori manages to burrow underground and evade being trapped by the earth dome. He resurfaces later and leaps at Yabanako, but Kankuro deploys his puppet once more in anticipation, and his opponent is ensnared inside the black ant, setting up for the Iron Maiden technique, which ultimately fails because of what we've seen in the show, but it was fun to watch him flop around, I guess. Since Yabanako is here, Sasori decides to bargain, and by that I mean he's going to take Yabanako hostage by wrapping around that weird scorpion tail around his neck, kind of baiting Kankuro into attacking him while putting his friend in the line of fire. Kankuro curses the inconvenience of Sasori's unsavory fighting tactic and tries to think of another way to get at him. Suddenly, a massive pillar of stone shoots into the air, launching Sasori and Yabanako. Quick thinking on Yabanako's part to gain some separation from the Akatsuki member, albeit reckless, Sasori floats back towards the sand as if he's casted Featherfall in 5e, and our lovable Earth-style user hits the sand with a dull thud. We turn our attention back to Deidara and Adamuku, where we can see in the desert landscape Adamuku is lying face down in the sand, battered and bruised. Deidara's nowhere to be seen, and of course, that means Gaara's gone as well. As I said before, the events in the original timeline I don't want to manipulate too much, but as a teaser for you guys, there may be a bit of a domino effect that does happen. I don't know. We'll have to see. So continuing on with that, let's check back in with Kakashi and the others. This would be around the time that you guys would regroup, you would find Tamari, and fill her in on everything that's been happening over the past couple of days. Now, obviously, we know that Tamari was in the Leaf Village with Shikamaru doing God knows what.
Shadow Possession Jutsu, now complete.
But she wasn't aware what was going on in the Leaf Village because at the same time, that we were delivered the tragic news about what was going on, she was leaving. So, with all that being said, you all have it out. Decide to take a bit of a breather and then resume your journey in a few hours. Okay, guys, so now we have to shift back to the situation with Kankuro, Yabanako, and Automuku. Automuku is going to pull through. She'll be fine, but she's kind of just, chilling in the sand, as we know. Kankuro and Yabanako, however, their situation is a little bit more complicated. Yabanako is going to walk away from this fight, for the most part, unscathed. But as the fight develops, Kankuro is once again going to be afflicted with the poison that nearly takes his life. And that's around the time that Sakura is going to come in and she'll be able to perform her advanced medical ninjutsu and bring him back from the brink. So she's very integral to this arc, but I wanted to throw in a few wrinkles here and there, which you'll find out about later. Once you and Team Kakashi arrive in the Sand Village, though, you meet up with a couple of old farts.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly ass on.
That's, of course, Lady Chio and the other dude. I'm pretty sure he had a name, but moving on. I was never a big fan of Chio, but I cannot deny her impact in this arc. She is vital. So everything is going to go the same way that it normally would, and eventually we have to progress to the part where Team 7 meets up with Itachi, or clone Itachi. We got statements in the manga saying that these clones were at about 30% of what the actual ninja would be, as far as like chakra reserves are concerned. So there wouldn't be any like Amaterasu or Tsukuyomi spam that Team 7 would have to worry about, which is great. Now, I don't want you guys to expect some kind of grand recap about this fight, because not a whole lot would change. You're just one extra body in this fight, and Naruto and Kakashi were able to take care of this pretty much by themselves comfortably. Again, this is just a clone question mark of Itachi with about 30% of the power. It's like some homeless guy they found on the street and they, perform some jutsu on him to make him look like Itachi. It's really interesting, but this fight, not a whole lot goes on. So with that being said, we move on. Of course, you also have Team Guy's deployment. He would be going against the Kisame clone. Needless to say that fight does not change drastically either, but we have something interesting going on. Yes, that's right, guys. Yabanako is waiting in the wings. He wants his get back on Deidara and Sasori in the worst way possible. Automuku is in critical condition along with Kankuro. She will be fine eventually, but today she's not, and that just doesn't sit right with our overactive hothead. Kind of reminds you of somebody in an orange jumpsuit, but just a little more side charactery, if that makes sense. So as you guys know, there is a chase scene between Naruto, Kakashi, and Deidara. Now, of course, this happens when the Leaf Ninja, they just want to get into the Akatsuki base and rescue Gaara, but they're not immediately allowed to do so because there is a barrier on the gate, if we can really call it that. If you ask me, it kind of feels low effort. They just kind of put a boulder in front of the cave opening. And, sure, it's effective, but I would think that the most elite group of rogue ninja would be a little more creative, but I digress. But part of this reason that Naruto's desire for revenge once the seal is bypassed, Naruto's so eager to go after Gaara's captors that they actually split up. And at this point is when Sakura and Chio are left to fight against Sasori. And it is Naruto and Kakashi that go pursue Deidara. This is the moment when Yabanaka will present himself, adding himself as a third party in the Sakura and Chio team up. However, Lady Chio is quick to dissuade any thoughts of him engaging in a second encounter with Sasori, and she insists that Yabanako go and help with the Deidara fight. And you can tell that Yabanako is really upset to hear this, seeing as how his friend Kankuro had been injured and put on the shelf thanks to Sasori. But in a surprising show of deference, quickly brushes himself off to go and join in the pursuit of Deidara. Now, we'll circle back to the results of the Chio, Sakura, and Sasori fight later because, well, we already know what happens. With the addition of Yabanako, I thought it would be cool to introduce a very small change. Kakashi is able to separate Deidara's arm using the Kamui, but he's able to stitch it back onto himself later on in the show. So I thought we have Yabanako here. What better way for him to give Deidara a parting gift by making sure that he's never able to reattach that one arm? In the grand scheme of things, it's a little petty and it doesn't have a huge ramification, but for Yabanako, it's a small victory. Something for the Akatsuki to remember him by, in his opinion. Just like always, Deidara is very crafty and he is able to escape this pursuit once again, despite an enraged Naruto basically going berserk and entering like a sort of free trial version of the Nine-Tail state. But yeah, big takeaways from this are that Deidara, the next time we see him, will not have been able to sew back his arms to himself. Well, not both of them. And as we transition back to talking about Sakura and Chio, they start to wrap up their fight, and Gaara is retrieved, but of course, he has basically passed on. And so it is up to Chio to use some forbidden technique, offering her life in exchange to bring the Kazekage back. But she did not do so until a very rousing speech from Naruto about the struggles that Gaara and himself have faced as Jinchuriki. And the anguish is what moved Chio, I think, to act. Or maybe she would have done it on her own. Who knows? But with you seeing all this, your resolve solidifies to take down the Akatsuki once and for all. You can see the pain that this organization is bringing friends and strangers alike, and it motivates you to not only get stronger, but to really appreciate the time that you do have with your pals while you have it. And so that kind of ties into your reunion with Yabanako, who you haven't seen in quite some time since the Hidden Leaf Village invasion. And that is where we will put things on pause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I apologize for it being late. I had some health stuff going on, but I'm back and I'm excited to where this channel can go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, wait, this is the outro. Don't mind me. I'll just show myself out.
Come here. Shut your stupid ass up.